Okay, we're back for another video, and today we're going to try and fix the problem that we've been having with our software where our baby bot gets stuck. So let's go in here, and the first thing I want to do is kind of like add some more information to help us figure it out. Well, actually, I could probably test it. If you watched the video some time ago, let's test it. Download it. There you go. Let's plug it in. And let's see what he does. That doesn't even look like the same program. Oh, that's because that's BB software. That's not the right one. We want BB2. All right, let's download BB2. Okay, so when we do a reset, what happens? And it gets stuck. That's all it does. Now it's kind of sort of working. But not very well. So I'm going to need more information to figure this one out. I'm also going to need to put my glasses on to figure this one out. All right. So when we're looking around, we are toggling this LED, the upper left one. Let's toggle one over from that as well. When it's doing a movement counter equals 0 and it's doing a setting for this, it'll also toggle the one over from it. And let's look at following the eyes, and let's toggle this if it doesn't work. So I'm going to toggle if we get in here, movement counter is 0 and none of this is true. It'll toggle 1 over. There we go. Okay, let's look at our state machine. So we're going to go from nothing to looking around to following eyes to looking around. So that's going to be a pretty tight loop. So we're just going to basically go back from looking around to following eyes as we're doing this, just to see what's going on. All right, let's get that downloaded. Alrighty. Let's plug him in. Now, as we can see, maybe we can see, so you can see the second row is following the eyes with the head, and as you and it's showing up here, but I can see a little bit better. Whenever it gets there, it immediately says I can't do anything. Up here, it says I'm doing something, but it's actually not. So it's getting to this initialization. It's running. It's getting to the initialization, but it's not doing anything either. So let's look at that. Unplug this. So eye rotation is getting it from this table, this decision table we set up. If we're not getting back anything useful from this table, we're not going to be doing anything useful. So it seems to be doing that correctly. And in this one, we're coming in here and we're immediately dropping to that and then just quitting. That means that these conditions are not happening. And I can already see that there could be some problems where we're rotating the head to the left or the right, but we never rotate it back to the center. And this is head rotation center. So we're never actually getting back to the center. So I want to add a couple more clauses in here to see if that's going to do anything. So now, if the eye rotation is left, which is my left as I'm looking at the robot, and the head is rotated that way, we don't want to do anything. And we've already covered if the head is looking in the center and we're looking to the left. But I want to cover if we're looking to the left and the head is all the way over to the right, then we can do something. So the head can now go to the center. And what about the eyes? Well, the eyes can rotate to the center from the right. The other case that we want to cover is what happens when eye rotation is to the right. So it's over this way, and the head rotation is to the left. So we're looking, so basically we're looking this way and our eyes are that way. We can do something there too. One thing we can do is we can move our head back to the center. And I'm going to grab this one because it's already the right thing. Somehow I grabbed more than I wanted. Eye rotation is to the center from the left. We're at the left. I think this goes back here. Head goes to the right. Eyes go to the center from the right. Okay. All right. So that covers more cases. So we should be able to get back to head center. Let's try that and see how that works. Download. And plug in. And nothing. Okay, so that's a problem. So the question is, what else could be going wrong? And looking at the lights, we've got pretty much the same thing going on where we're not recognizing where that is. So So let's get back over here. See what else could possibly go wrong. Well, let's say that what if none of these are equal to what they should be? What if the current head rotation never quite gets to head rotation right? What if these current eye rotation falls short of these constants that we've set up? They don't quite get there. They're not exactly right. And what I'm proposing is that the reason for that is because this map isn't doing exactly the right thing. It's getting close, but it's not exactly the right thing. So how can we figure that out? How we can find out what information do we need? We need a number. And the number we need is current eye rotation. And the eye rotation, current eye rotation, should be one of these constants. Should be one of these 4 constants. We got 4 right there. All right, let's download this. See what we got. And there we go. Let's get him plugged in. All right, let's look and see what we got here. 94. 94. He's actually working. 94. 94. So he's no longer stuck. There he is. Now he's stuck. Oh, question mark. We've got a question mark. It's telling us it's not a real number. Something's gone completely off track, and it's not able to display. If you can see that, I think you can see that, even though if you look at it long enough and collect up all the LEDs, you can see that it's showing a question mark. It doesn't know what that is. So it worked for a while, and then it went off the rails. And that's evidence for what I was thinking. And what I was thinking is that for some reason, those current numbers, current, head rotation, whatever, those are not equal to these numbers. And it appears as though they're not. So this isn't working. That is my current theory. I don't know if it's true. Let's make that clear. I don't know if that's true. But that's what I suspect based on the evidence I've seen so far. So let's write a better map. All right, let's create a function. And I'm not going to call it map anything because map is the wrong name to use for that function. Going all the way back to the 1960s, map has been the name of choice for a function that does something completely different, not even close to what that's doing. So that is, in fact, the wrong name for that function to begin with. All right. So what is the right name? Interpolate. So we want to interpolate between 2 points to find the points along the center. So interpolate is the correct name for that. And really what we want is to have a low and to have a high. We know what those other numbers are. They're global variables. we've set them up to be global variables so that we can use them everywhere. And I think that's what we need now. So interpolate. Now, I'm going to introduce some quick exits. First quick exit I want to do is if we don't need to interpolate at all. Actually, there's two times that happens. Two times that happens where we don't need to do any interpolation at all. We can just give back the actual number. And the first one is when movement counter is equal to 0. Now, we've always said that we're going to start at 0. That may not be true in the future. There may be some reason for us to go ahead and have variable start times and variable this and variable that, but right now we don't need that. So you aren't going to need it. Don't put it in there. But I am going to add a little bit of flexibility. If the movement counter is less than or equal to 0, I'm going to return, this is going to give us errors, that's okay, the low number. And there it is. Okay, now, there's a second time when you don't need to interpolate. You do not need to mess around with that number at all. And that is when the movement counter is equal to the final count. And I'm going to say greater than equal to, so that if for some reason we go past the movement count, we're not going to give a number that's too large. We're just going to give back the highest number. And then, finally, and this will get rid of our error, because all ways of returning have a way of returning something. Excuse me, should get rid of the error. Are you listening to me? What did I just tell you? Let's reload. There we go. Much better. Okay. Now in this case, what we actually want to do, array received, you know, what are you doing to me? I know what I'm doing. You don't. Let's make that clear. I'm the programmer. I know what I'm doing. You're the computer. You don't. You answer to me. All right. Now we're going to use the map, the actual map, which should be called something else, to actually do the interpolation for us. Forever if black, blah, 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 blah. Did you forget to assign a variable? I'm going to get rid of that anyways. So we have it defined here for you to know that it's an array of arrays and the inner arrays have numbers. You should know that by now. Okay, it just does not like my arrays. All right, let's collapse everything. And now we have this interpolate. Oh, errors went away. we don't need to see that. All right, so scroll down to the bottom because these are in order of when they were created, I think. So we're going to interpolate from the old. So we're doing head rotation, so old head rotation. You'll notice that I went ahead and copied it because I duplicated it because I knew that when I pulled it down, it would be very close to the variable I needed. And that's because I have made these so that they all are very similar in name, at least the first little bit of the characters. Okay. Let's grab another one. Move this down. Move this in. Old head elevation. New head elevation. Head elevation, head elevation, head elevation. Rotate, head rotation, head rotation, head rotation. Okay. Functions. Oh, and Henry's here, by the way. If you were wondering where he is, he was sleeping, and now he's not. Hello, Henry. Yeah. All right, we need another one. What's happening, Henry? Something terrible happening to you? It is? What is it? Okay, so there's my brand new interpolate function that will return this actual number, not a number that's very close to it, but this actual number, and this actual number, not a number that's very close to it, the actual number. And those should now match up with the numbers that we're trying to compare them to. Let's move that under here. That's part of this whole section of code. Going back to the do section of code. And let's download this. Excuse me, Henry. Now you've got hair all over everything again. All right, let's download this. Okay, hold on. Hold that thought there, Henry. Plug this in. And there we go. Now, I think that the head is turning too far. That's what I think. So let's unplug this for a moment. And let's do something about that. First, I'm going to do some cleaning up. I don't need these anymore. I may put them back, but for right now, I don't actually need them. All right, so let's go to our servo constants and head rotation to the left. I'm going to add 10 degrees to that. So instead of being 45, it'll be 35. Now this one is direct one-to-one degrees to the head, wherever the head turns, because it's not using a linkage. The linkage throws everything off because there's a there's an ARM involved, but this is direct drive, so to speak. So we'll make that 63. And to the right, I'm going to take 10 away. So there's about 20 degrees between here and there. So we'll turn about 20 degrees. And I want about 20 degrees from there and there. So that'll be 103. That should be about right. In terms of moving the head back and forth. Let's see how that looks. I'll be back to that again. Interesting. Very interesting. $980. It's telling me. I'm gonna go ahead and start this up again. Give me a 980 error. It shows up as a unhappy face followed by a number. Okay. What is a 980 error? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let's get another tab here. Let's go in here. Look at this. Microbit error codes. Let's scroll down. $980. When value of x is undefined. Value of x is undefined. When the static type of x is a class C, the dynamic type of x isn't C, and you try to access a field on x or call a method on x, you will get one of the following codes depending on the dynamic type of x. Okay, the value of x is undefined. Okay, so something in a class, okay, so we haven't talked about classes yet, and so this is a little more advanced than what we would usually be talking about. So in JavaScript, there's something called a class, and a class is a bundle of data along with some functions. Now, when a function is on a class, we call it a method. When there's data on the class, we call it an instance variable. And we put those two together as a bundle so that we can do very specific things with these classes. Now, in JavaScript, one type of class is a list, or as we call it in MakeCode, an array. So my guess is that somehow we have managed to wander off into the twilight zone, and we're doing something with an array that MakeCode itself is not able to catch with its static typing. So this is a static typing error. And let's start out by reloading. There we go. Now, I'm not sure what to do with these errors, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into JavaScript. And when JavaScript tells us where the errors are, it should give us actual line numbers, which may actually be helpful. Or it won't give us line numbers, which won't be helpful. I'm thinking it's the latter. It's not giving us line numbers, which is not helpful. All right. So this is the code that actually executes. This is what runs on the microbit. Microbit runs on a JavaScript runtime. And this is what it is. Now this is called static TypeScript. And I believe what runs on the microbit is not really JavaScript. It is also static TypeScript. All right, let's go back to blocks. Blocks is what we've been doing. Hey, look at that. I wonder if that's the code, the error code. Let's wait and see. Are you doing anything useful? You are not doing anything useful. You are just giving us an error. Okay, so it kind of sort of worked for a little while, and that's nice. I'm just going to go ahead and download it again to see if maybe reloading did something useful for us. And we're back into the problem. All right, let's push the reset again. Moves around a little bit, then it gives us the error. Okay. I am going to stop here because this is going to take a long time to figure out, and you probably don't want to watch all that mess as I figure this out. I will be back. Why are you doing that? I will be back when I figure out what's going wrong with this. You guys probably have already seen it, but I have to figure it out for myself, just as everybody else does at some point in their lifetime. Got to figure this out. So, hey, stop doing that. It's supposed to be broken. All right. Thank you to Henry for helping. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, hopefully with an answer to this problem.